All right, so we've talked about our legal basis, the foundations of this nation, the Constitution that has actually changed humanity for the better, more than anything since the birth of Jesus Christ in human history. We've talked about our faith. We've talked about small businesses and really what is the impact on our families and on the parents and what's happening out there. Melissa Bodie is going to go ahead and give us a little piece of her mind and what's happening in her community.
I thought nobody would have notes, actually, and I was going to say that I'm not a public speaker, nor am I Amy Coney Barrett, and these pages do have words on them. But then it turns out everybody else had words on theirs, too. So I'm a mom of 5 kids, ages preschool to 11th grade, and I'm also a previous foster parent, and that's where my views come from. I probably also will cry, so there's that. These kids need to be in school. They deserve to be in school. They have a right to a free public education. They need to be in school for their academic health, their safety, and their emotional well-being. Academically, these kids are struggling. Previous 4.0 and honor roll students are failing classes. Middle school, high school, this matters. How many kids are actually going to make these up, and how many are just going to drop out? These kids are at an age where you cannot physically force them to go. If your high schooler suddenly decides this is too much, it's too stressful, it's too overwhelming, and they just give up, what are you going to do? Are you going to take away their phone? Are you going to not let them hang out with the few friends they do see? Are you going to take away their video games or the TV? Are you going to further isolate them from the very few things they have left? At what cost? Some kids, whether we like to talk about it or not, then it's going to start, need the safety of school. If you have never seen a child struggle due to hunger, trauma, parental addiction, then go home and count yourselves lucky. But also, count yourselves as underinformed. Most of my previous foster kids went home to parents that worked hard to get sober and get their kids back. I worry about these kids, these parents, these families. I worry that there is no one to catch these parents if they fall. There is no one to report these kids slowly becoming disheveled. No one to notice the weight loss in parents or the nervousness of kids to go home because they're always at home. For some parents, staying clean is a full-time job. Stress triggers that. I can't even give up coffee, so I do not pretend to know what it's like to get sober, let alone sober and take care of kids. Further that, be sober, take care of kids all the time, and be their teachers. They already feel inadequate because of their struggles. If their kids are struggling at school, they don't necessarily know that a lot of other kids are struggling. They aren't in the PTO, they're not at school board meetings, they're at home struggling to keep their family together, their kids in school, and food on the table. Kids need the safety and stability of school. Socially, these kids are struggling. We have taken everything from them except the part that not many of these kids like, the basic nuts and bolts of an education. We've taken away the teacher-staff interactions, sports, taken away the arts, leadership, and friends. What they're left with is doing the hardest, least joy-filled part alone, in the isolation of their own homes. Some completely alone. Some with drunk, high, or absent parents. Some while trying to care for siblings. Some with razor blades next to them, cutting to ease the loneliness of the pain. Kids are turning to drugs and suicide. The cure is becoming more deadly than the problem. We are failing these kids. Our schools are failing these kids. And we, as a society and as parents, are allowing it. I was on a Zoom school board meeting the other day, and one of the board members was chatting about how he attended an online conference. During that online conference, he put something over his computer and built this big bookcase. Does anybody see the hypocrisy in that? An adult cannot make it through one Zoom conference without multitasking. Yet we are asking kids to sit in front of computers for hours every single day. and be fully engaged. So much hypocrisy. In Blaine, is where I live, so that's what I'll talk about. Teachers were polled by their union, and 80+ teachers said they did not feel comfortable having kids back in the building versus 40 that do. They do, for only 40 want kids back in the building. Do you know what they do feel comfortable doing? Cashing that same paycheck. While kids at home struggle. While kids at home are hungry. While kids at home are abused. While kids at home are alone. They will scream from the rooftops about how teachers and schools are needed for the safety and emotional well-being of these kids. Yet these same people are literally abandoning these same kids right at this exact moment. Are they staying home, growing their own food, and making their own candy to put in those Christmas stockings? Or are they shopping on Amazon, having UPS deliver their packages, and getting their groceries at Fred Meyer, where employees shop for their pumpkin pie and walk it out to their car? Everything they do requires people to still go to work. So unless they're living off the grid and not requiring other people to risk their lives so they can teach from the comfort of their home or an empty classroom, they need to get up and go to work. Put their money where their mouth is and take care of these kids that they proclaim to care so much about. This should never be a parents versus teacher issue. However, it has become a parents versus teacher union issue. We as parents need to stand up and be the union for our kids. Oh, I refuse to sit back and watch silently. I refuse to have it be my kid that hangs himself from a bedpost. But what if I am? What if what I am doing, what if what I am able to do as one person is not enough? What if it's you? What if you alone are not doing enough for your kid? We have to band together and be a voice for these kids. Kids in school is about so much more than academics. We will stop failing these kids.